Hi, PDF. Oh my goodness. I've been PDF adjacent for like 8 years. I've been invited to this conference for a long time, and I'm really excited that I actually get to be here today, this year. This is a really important year. Not just because I made a big decision that I'm going to tell you about, but because we live in such a unique moment. We have such a unique set of opportunities to do amazing things together. A lot of speakers up here have talked about the word innovation. I want to take a second and actually define that, and I'm going to quote Chris Rabb, who Mika referred to earlier, who some of you heard in an earlier session. He's a very good friend and mentor of mine. He wants to find innovation as something being new, different, and better. Since I'm a little younger than Chris, I'm going to try to improve that a little bit. I think something is innovative if it's new, different, better, and more valuable to more people. I think that last part is really important. The impetus for innovation, however, is opportunity. Innovation happens when we take advantage of opportunity. So I want to talk about today around how opportunity gets created, how it got created in my own personal life, how it's been created for us in this moment, and then what we have to do as a collective to seize it. Because I think we need a whole lot of innovation to deal with all of the challenges that we face. So who created opportunities for me? So it starts when I was short, which was true one day. I was short at one point in my life. Mika talked about me being a technologist and then an organizer. Well, I started off as an organizer. My mama, Garlin Gilchrist, in Detroit, on the east side, had me knocking on doors when I was 3 years old. She was a neighborhood leader. Her husband, my dad. Yeah, they were married. The two of them, they were leaders in our neighborhood. They worked in our Citizens District Council, ran our block club. So they had me going with them, knocking on doors, handing out literature, listening to people, talking to my neighbors. What's going on? What do we care about? Do you like this? Do you want this grass cut? What should we do in this corner? I'm 3 years old asking these kinds of questions, listening to my neighbors. What I actually did with that information, not totally clear. But what's important about it is I learned how to talk to people. This matters. 2 years later, when I was 5, my grandma Doris, school teacher, social studies, Munger Middle School, Detroit, 30 years. She taught me history, taught me civics, taught me the importance of participating in the political process, taught me civil rights history, but she also bought me my first computer when I was 5 years old. She wasn't a technologist, but she wanted her baby to be a technologist. She wanted her baby to take advantage of this opportunity created by this new thing called the computer. It's one of them old school, like DOS-enabled computers with the green and black screens and like the beige keyboards. You know what I'm talking about? She wanted her baby to understand that so he could use it to change his community in his own way. Knocking on doors at 3, typing on computers at 5. That laid a foundation for 2 things. In addition to opportunity being required for innovation to happen, you also have to be prepared. I think by learning how to knock on doors, it taught me how to organize. Organizing is a way to fight for what you care about, to fight for rights, to fight for justice, to fight for freedom. I learned how to fight when I was 3. Technology is a way to solve problems. Another way to frame problem solving is fixing something that needs to be changed. I think in order to deal with the challenges we face, we have to be able to both fight and fix stuff. I got that at an early age and took that all the way with me through college to the University of Michigan. Rob was talking about Wolverines all the time. I was really excited over here talking about that. Thank you. Thank you. Go Blue. Yes. Yes. At U of M, so yeah, I went to engineering school, got 2 degrees in engineering, But since my mama taught me how to talk to people, so I was an engineer who could talk to people, right? That's important. Ooh, that's important. But I also had to fight when I was on campus. I was on campus when University of Michigan's admissions policy was under attack because they took race into account. 2004. So I got a chance to learn how to fight on that level, organizing buses to go to Washington, D.C. so we can yell and scream at the Supreme Court, which was great, by the way. Man, it was fun. Fighting while learning how to fix stuff. I came out of Michigan. I went to work for Microsoft out in Seattle. 4 years. It was a blast. It was a fantastic professional experience. But it wasn't as fulfilling as I needed it to be. It wasn't that fulfilling because what I was missing in that professional time fixing technology for like oil companies was fighting for community. I was fixing stuff, but I wasn't fighting enough. So I quit working for Microsoft the week before I got married. The week before I got married, I quit working at Microsoft. 2 things happened after that. 1, I still got married, and I'm about to celebrate my 8th anniversary on July 11th. Yes, thank you. Thank you, baby. I really appreciate you still marrying me after that. The second thing that happened is I moved across the country so I could use that technology background to better fight for community. Moved to Washington, D.C. after helping work to elect President Obama the first time in Washington State, to come actually learn how to be a community organizer for real. So to go from like an amateur kid knocking on doors to a professional listener working with communities to build their own political power. At the Center for Community Change, at MoveOn.org, getting a chance to do that at a scale that is basically unmatched from any other political organization, or certainly was at that time. Learning how to listen, learning how to mobilize, learning how to organize, learning how to manage volunteers. I got a chance to work on our re-election campaign for President Obama, where we got a chance to mobilize 34,000 or so volunteers to re-elect President Obama across 8 states, including in my hometown of Detroit, using technology and scalable methods to reach people. To me, that was almost as close as you could get to the apex of using technology to fight for community. Fixing things and fighting at the same time. But even that wasn't enough. Because while I was fixing stuff, while I was fighting stuff, I wasn't doing it in the only place in the country, if I'm brutally honest, I actually care about. Seattle was really pretty. DC was great. My children were born there. But man, I missed home. I was gone for 9 years. But after a little bit of convincing, my wife and I got in our Chevrolet and drove our 10-month-old babies back home to Detroit. I got twins. That's what I said, 10-month-old babies, same age. We went back home. We went back home because all of the fighting, all of the fixing, that needed to be matched with all of the opportunity for change and possibility and change for uplifting people's opportunity, change in terms of building possibilities in my hometown. So many people have fought against different forms of oppression in my hometown of Detroit. So many people have demonstrated a level of resilience that is literally unmatched any place in the United States in my hometown of Detroit. I needed to be of service to that. So I left national politics because I was tired of it and went home to literally work for the government in Detroit, something that I hadn't considered before. To fix things in city government so that it worked in better service of those people, those resilient, beautiful, transformative people who made up my hometown. So I did that for 2.5 years, doing things that are particularly relevant, I think, to this audience. using technology to solve problems. Any people like civic tech, open data people? My job was to be the liaison to that community for city government in Detroit. It was a never before thought of position. I wrote the city's policy on open data and transparency, first one to happen in the state of Michigan. I implemented the program, and boy, have you ever tried to implement an open data policy on a mainframe computer? It's really hard. All of that experience, fixing systems, everything from open data, fixing fire hydrants, making city services accessible and trustable, trying to restore integrity to a government that had gone bankrupt and therefore that was sort of the last straw of breaking its trust between it and its constituents. That showed me that people were ready for a new type of leadership in my hometown. The November election, well, that just really crushed it, because y'all probably heard about all the way here in New York, wherever you're from, when you were up on election night at 4 o'clock in the morning, they was like, we waiting on Michigan. We said, we're going to see what's going to happen in Michigan. That's because they were waiting on Wayne County. They were waiting on Wayne County because they was waiting on Detroit. They're waiting on Detroit because we had a lot of problems with our election. Broken voting machines, out of materials, poll workers who weren't prepared to be able to succeed and serve Detroit voters. An attempted recount that failed because the numbers didn't match in the first place. And we had some backwards law that said in Michigan, if the books don't match the machines, you can't recount it. Seems exactly backwards, right? Yeah, I think so too. So after that debacle, after waiting to vote for an hour and a half with my own children and them crying at a polling place, I don't think anyone should ever cry at a polling place. My kids are crying at a polling place. People asked me to step up. They said, Garlin, you have all of this background. You have a technology background. You're from here. You've been an organizer. You fix things in city government. You've organized and mobilized voters. We need you to step up. There's an opportunity for you to innovate and solve problems in a new way. There's an opportunity for a new type of leader to step into city government, and we need you to serve that. And I said, wow, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I have not considered running for elected office, and I'm not about to do it right now. But I thought about it for a couple of months. Most importantly, my wife signed off on it. And we said, you know what, you're right. So we made a decision as a family that I was going to stand tall for Detroit, that I was going to step up to be a different type of leader in our city, to run an attempt to be the Detroit city clerk to fix the elections process. That's the job. To fix the public information process. Remember I talked about open data? That was the city clerk's job. That didn't happen, but I'd already done that. To step up and bring that place to its rightful place in city government. To step up and make services and information about government accessible to people so that they could hold it accountable in the way that they've wanted to, but hadn't been given the proper on-ramps to do so. That's an opportunity for innovations and civic participation that we need to take advantage of. That's why I stepped up to run. And that's what I think the embodiment of the Personal Democracy Forum actually is. We talk about ideas. We talk about programs. We talk about the urgency of this moment, the service we have to provide. And I'm standing here as an example of someone now who is stepping into that space, who is taking the opportunity to innovate, to say that I want to serve in this way. And as a member of this community, I humbly ask you to help me do that. Help me do that, not only by helping my campaign directly, but by doing the same in your own community. There is a role for all of us to play in this moment of resistance. We can all innovate from the places that we are because there are opportunities in front of all of us. And we have to. We must do it. The moment that we face a challenge at the federal level is unprecedented, certainly in my 34-year-old lifetime, but also in many others. So we got to step up now. We got to innovate now. We have to stand tall now. I'm doing that in Detroit. That's why I'm running for city clerk, and I need help. But I need you to do it in your community as well. So please, stand tall with me, and let's take advantage of these opportunities to innovate. And let's all change where we are for the better. Thank you.